Evolution is the development of life on Earth, which started billions of years ago and still continues to this day. Darwinism tells us how the enormous diversity of life could develop. It explains to us how primitive protozoa could become millions of distinct species that we perceive now. Let's get to understand how evolution works in under 5 minutes. First, you need to understand that every creature that existed on this earth is unique. You differ from your parents but have some resemblances to them. Even in twins, nobody is 100% similar to others. So, what is the reason for these differences? It's DNA that makes every creature unique. Let's understand DNA a little bit more. You have about 30 trillion cells in your body. Most of these cells include DNA inside them, with few exceptions like mature red blood cells, cornified cells in the skin, hair and nails. Each of these cells has a small compartment called nucleus. Inside each nucleus has 46 chromosomes. A single chromosome contains a DNA strand about 1.8 meters long, tightly packed around proteins called histones. This differs slightly from one person to another, so each one has somewhat unique characteristics. Each person has a unique DNA. But how your DNA becomes unique? This process involves two very interesting factors called recombination and mutation. DNA recombination. You already know people have 46 chromosomes inside their cells. But interestingly, both sperm cells and egg cells have only 23 chromosomes each. Each of these 23 chromosomes are a random mix of their 46 chromosomes. So the baby will have total 46 chromosomes at the end. Now let's talk about the DNA mutation. Mutations are random DNA changes. Usually, DNA mutations occur due to exposure to radiation or some other chemical substances. These changes are often negative and can lead to diseases like cancer. However, neutral or positive effects are sometimes also possible. For example, blue eye color, denser bones are such random mutations in humans. In brief, creatures transmit their features as DNA to their descendants during the process of heredity. Recombination and mutations of the DNA make every child look different from his/her siblings, and the characteristics of their parents are randomly mixed. Natural selection. Every individual is subjected to a natural selection process, even though each individual is somewhat different from his fellows. There's a big environmental influence on each living creature. Lithobates clamitans are green-colored frogs native to eastern North America. The green color is perfect for them to blend in with nature. But think if one frog is born with a bright red color. How long would you think it can survive in the jungle? Those with the right mix survive, and their improved characteristics can be passed on. It is for this reason that diversity is so essential. This is why animals make so much effort to create offspring that are as distinct as possible. Deer mice used to be dark-colored when they mainly lived in the woods. However, a part of the population split a few thousand years ago and found a new habitat in the sandhills. These deer mice are lighter and have evolved over thousands of years to match their surroundings. In the meantime, the dark deer mice have been deprived of these light genes and continue to have dark-colored offspring. Whenever you use a pesticide, most insects are killed, but some insects will, however, be immune due to gene mutation. When those insects reproduce, that gene will pass on to their offsprings, and the next generation of insects will be immune to the pesticide you used. The excess production of offspring by the interaction of single individuals, recombination and mutation in heredity, and ultimately by selection. New species will be created by evolution. If you take account of the fact that 99% of all species ever lived are extinct, you can think of yourself as being part of a success story in 3.5 billion years of evolution.